Hello and welcome to the very first unboxing and review of the GameOverJak channel. Today we'll be reviewing the Premium Masterline Yennefer of Vengerberg Alternative Outfit. My god, that's a mouthful. This will be our first ever review and we'll try to go into as much detail as we can. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But before we get bored, why don't we just get started? Let's go! the head sculpt is incredibly accurate to the character model from the game. The skin tone, the facial structure, and especially with the pronounced cheekbones and the beauty spot near the mouth are all there. Her gaze on the statue as well is really well done and really shows that confidence that she had throughout the game. Her raven black hair as well is perfectly sculpted, and you can even see like the intricate curls on the back of her hair there as well. Just a really, really well done head sculpt. Now, the body uses the alternate costume from the game that was released 11 days after The Witcher 3 originally released. The alternate costume sort of keeps to the original black, all-over black look of Yennefer's clothing, but also changes it to more revealing sort of look. But it doesn't detract from how powerful she is as a sorceress. It added the raven feathers around the hem of the outfit here, using a sort of metallic paint as well to sort of like have those blacks and those like sort of look like greens to really make them stand out on the statue. The statues definitely function over form though, because as I said, it doesn't detract from how powerful Yennefer is as a sorceress. I did find an issue on the actual sculpt itself. On the knee pad there was clear paint smudging, which I never expected on this statue, as the other knee is perfectly fine. But it was a little disappointing, but these things happen, so it's not too much of an issue. Now, moving down, obviously we have the leather skirt. Now, the way they've painted that makes it look like real leather, and it's very, very well sculpted. You can see the sort of weathering effect that they've used on it as well. And then obviously we have the sort of lingerie stockings, which you can see here and here. They just look fantastic. Very well done. Yet again, revealing, but not too revealing that makes it weird. And then we also obviously move down to the knee-high boots, which look incredible other than those paint smudges. So the chest itself here has sort of got that really rustic wood sort of look to it. The way they've sculpted it here shows the sort of grains in the wood, as well as the painting. The way they've done that has made it just really, really stand out. The metallic paint they've used on the metal parts of the chest really stand out as well, because of the sort of like the darker shades of metallic silver paint they've used. They've used the same paint as well on the chains which surround the chest as well. Now, they've also added 2 signs from The Witcher that Geralt uses throughout the game. They added the Urden sign, which is actually meant to ward off sort of evil entities within the game. So they're clearly trying to protect whatever is in here from some form of monster or monsters. And on the other side, etched into it, you can see the sign for Quen, which is a protective shield sign as well, which Geralt uses throughout the game. And it's definitely helpful for the Death March playthrough, if you ever decide to do that. Now, the chest is really, really awesome and just really stands out in the piece as it's situated behind her, sort of as a backdrop. But it would have been really, really cool to see if we could find out what was actually in here. I think that would have been awesome. So now, the hands or the glove pieces here as well, they key in very, very easily. But that might make people think that they're not keyed in quite right, but they just pull straight on with a magnet, and it was very, very quick and very, very easy to key in, which could be seen earlier when I was doing the assembly. Now, the sort of glossy paint that they've used on the gloves themselves to give it that sort of leather textured look, along with the sculpting, is just really, really incredible to see. And they've done a really good job with that, and on the back of the hand you can see a sort of emblem that's also been sculpted into the glove itself as well. As you move up the arms, you can see sort of leather straps as well, which have had runes painted onto them itself in sort of silver paint, metallic silver paint. And that's just really, really cool, just nice little added feature just to give it that real authentic Yennefer look. Now for the Megascope. That was by far the most difficult part of the build for this statue. Each part is just very, very small, the pins are incredibly small, and they feel incredibly, like, just insanely fragile. Each part, when keying them in, basically demands that you put a lot of pressure on it, and when I was keying mine in, they didn't want to go in, they didn't want to hold, they still don't want to hold, so anytime I nudge it, or there's even a movement, I'm terrified it's just going to come apart. That's the only real problem I've had with this statue so far, is how fragile those parts are, especially with the weight of the larger piece at the top there. Now, the Megascope itself is really, really well designed. It's like the colour of it's perfect, the metallic sort of gold they've used for it's perfect. They've even etched in runes up and down it as well, which is really cool, just really makes it stand out. And obviously it's used within the game to sort of amplify Yennefer's power for teleporting them across the plains when they were in the Battle of Kaer Morhen. So it is a very welcome addition to this piece. Now, the base itself is actually built up of sort of red tiles from the floors of the Kaer Morhen rooms, and they're all cracked and worn down, as you can see. It's just absolutely a really, really cool sort of design, the way they've done that. Then throughout the statue, they've also added little bits and pieces here. First, we'll start with the outer ring of the base itself, which is sort of built up of sort of like a wood effect with leather straps surrounding the whole way around it. And the paint they've used for that, as well as the sculpting, just really shows off that sort of like leather look, and even got dents and nicks and cuts within the base sculpt itself, which is awesome. Now the emblem as well, the sort of dandelion star that we have on the front there, which is a symbol for Yennefer, attaches keys in very nicely, and then we've got the chains which clip on to the front of the base as well. And on either side of that emblem we also have all the Witcher signs etched into the base. Now there are 3 detachable bottles attached to the statue here. They all keyed in quite easily as well. We've got the one here on the book, which I can only assume is meant to be the Thunderbolt potion, which Geralt uses within the game. And on the other side, we have 2 red, like clear resin red bottles, which I can only assume are one version of the Swallow potion, and maybe an upgraded version of the Swallow potion, the Enhanced Swallow. All 3 of them, though, look absolutely insane. Just definitely really cool, considering Yennefer's line of work just looks really, really cool. Now, on the base, you can also see the sort of sculpted books and pages scattered about. These are really, really cool. Only one of the pages itself is detachable and had to be keyed in itself, but the books house both one of the bottles, and then there's the larger book on the front. And we also have on the pages, if you look closely, you can also see sort of runes and writing written on them in intricate detail on the pages that are scattered around the floor of the base. Didn't expect to see something like that, something that small a detail, but it's definitely welcome on this statue. Now, there are also additional little bits and pieces that have been scattered around the floor and the general vicinity of the base as well. We've got the little bench here, which is also a key-in piece, which has sort of candles, worn down candles on top of that. And then around the side here we also have what I can only assume is a small jar of poison next to what I assume is a bowl of dog tallow. And on the other side here we also have yet another worn down candle. Now, underneath the chest we also have a rug which has been very, very intricately sculpted to sort of show off a sort of a really sort of old-fashioned rustic pattern that sits directly beneath Yennefer's feet and the chest, and that just looks really awesome. Okay, so now we'll talk about the sort of sizing of the statue itself. Yennefer stands to about 51 centimeters tall and about, let's say, 35 centimeters width and depth. So not overall a very large 1/4 scale statue, it's on the smaller end of the 1/4 scale Prime 1 statues. But for the price of $699, I'd say that's definitely a steal. Now this is the standard edition, as mentioned before, and the deluxe will be possibly larger with the addition of Uma. So the standard edition was perfect for what I wanted to fit perfectly in that motif with Geralt, who stands by himself on top of a chart. Now, overall, I absolutely love this statue. It's absolutely perfect. Everything that I expected. Yes, there were problems with it, but other than that, the statue is absolutely incredible. I couldn't be happier with this piece. Definitely a welcome addition to my collection. So guys, that's the end of the review. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, leave a comment, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.